Hello there everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Clarissa and I put out new pick a card readings every week. And this week we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. So as you can tell by the title of the video, this is all about messages from your spirit guides. And really, I'm letting whatever wants to come in. So whatever it is that they need you to know right now, whatever it is they deem as important, or that could help provide you with guidance or clarity or whatever it is, I'm letting come through. So I really didn't put any limitations on what it is they want to tell you. I prefer that it's hopefully like an uplifting message, but hey, if spirit has to come through with tough love, I'm not gonna stop spirit from doing that. But anyway, as you can see here, we have 3 different books. They're all from the same author. My husband is actually an English teacher and he picked up these books. They're like different poem books. And if you are somebody that's active on TikTok, you may have seen these videos as well. But literally, we're going to be doing what they do in the videos. So there are these TikTok videos that have become kind of popular. At least I get them on my TikTok For You page all of the time. And a person will have one of these books or a different poetry book, and they'll be like, I made 3 of these videos, whichever one you're seeing is the message that's meant for you. Then they flip to a random page and then they read that poem or that little excerpt for you, and then that's the message that is meant for you. So same idea kind of this week. We have 3 different books, so this will correlate to the 3 different piles. We have pile number 1, 2, and 3 here. And what you'll do is you'll pick whichever book is the most appealing to you. So for pile number 1, we have Sincerely. For pile number 2, we have Euphoria. And for pile number 3, we have Serenity. And whichever one of these appeals to you most is what you will pick to correspond with your pile. Now for today's reading, I just want to emphasize that there may be more than one pile that you're drawn to, and that's perfectly fine. There may be more than one message that spirit needs to give you. So do whatever you're called to do. If you want to, listen to the reading, this whole video in its entirety, listen to all 3 readings and then determine, which one resonates with you that way, go ahead and do that. If you want to listen to 2 of them or just 1 of them, whatever works for you. There's really no rules to this one this week. So again, I'm going to have you kind of take a look here. With pile number 1, with the Sincerely book, we have sunflowers, other flowers. So maybe you're drawn to the imagery, maybe you're drawn to the word. Then we have Euphoria here, which, clouds, looks very peaceful, very blue, reminds me kind of the ocean, very calm vibes. And then we have number 3 here, which is Serenity. And I don't know how well you guys can tell, maybe you'll be able to tell better on the thumbnail, but there is a fish swimming up here as well. And it's just a little bit lighter of a blue color than the actual blue color of the book. Then we have some pretty flowers here as well. So maybe you're drawn to the imagery, maybe you're drawn to the word, whatever is speaking to you. But anyway, I will let you guys take a minute to pick the book, the pile that you're the most interested in for today, the reading that you're the most interested in for today. And then once you have had time to intuitively decide, which one you're the most drawn to, you can go to the description box down below, and then I have time-stamped the individual readings for you so you can go directly to your readings for today. But anyway, thank you so much, you guys, for joining me. I hope that today's messages resonate with you and provide you with a sense of clarity. So anyway, love you guys, and I will see you shortly in your reading. Hi there, pile number 1. If you picked the Sincerely book, then this is your reading in regard to messages that spirit has for you. And as a reminder, we will use this book at the end for divination. Flip to a page and then get any additional messages that spirit has for you, or confirming messages, whatever spirit feels like needs to come through. So anyway, we will use this here at the end. But for now, let's go ahead and get into your reading, guys, and we'll take a look at your tarot cards here that I've already laid out for you, and then we'll get into your oracle cards here in a minute. So based on what I'm seeing, pile number one, I feel like there's been a lot going on for you guys in terms of making decisions, like just a lot going on mentally. With the Two of Wands here especially, this is very much so rooted in making decisions, and also rooted in making decisions that align with like your passions, your ambitions, the things that light you up and drive you. And for some of you, this could be related to travel. Maybe some of you are very passionate about travel, especially with like the globe here and this van being here as well. I apologize if you're hearing that in the background, by the way. That's my Frenchie. He climbed into this like beanbag chair that we have in this room, and he is trying to get himself comfortable. So anyway, I apologize for that. But yeah, I feel like there are decisions that have come up that you guys have been needing to make. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. This may be like a message for someone in particular, but I feel like for some of you, you've been wanting to travel for an extended period of time. Some of you may be wanting to work remotely, like, you know, have an RV or have like a van or a camper or something, and just traveling and working remotely. Some of you may have like want to quit your jobs and travel for like a year or 2 or 3. Some of you may just be wanting to go on, you know, a couple month vacation where you travel, and you know, this could also be international travel as well. But I'm really getting the sense here that this does have to do with travel for some of you, whereas for others, I feel like this could also just be implicating like you trying to make decisions in terms of your life and in terms of career, in terms of the things that you want to do. I feel like some of you may be very passionate about certain things, and you may be wanting to, you know, start doing those things for a living, or even it could be as simple as like you cutting back on your hours currently at work so that you can do more things that you're passionate about and that you actually enjoy. But yeah, I just feel like there's been a lot that you've been mulling over lately in terms of decisions that you've been wanting to make for yourself. I'm seeing here in the Five of Pentacles that this could be related to career and money. I'm also feeling though with this card that there is some like limiting belief going on here. I feel like, for instance, if you're somebody that's been wanting to quit your job and do something you're more passionate about, or if you're wanting to quit to travel for a while, or even like try to find something remotely, I feel like there's something financially as well as like with your own mind that's holding you back. So for some of you, this could be worry around finances. Maybe things have been tight. Maybe you're afraid that you won't be able to make it in doing the things that you really want to do, the things you're actually passionate about. Maybe you're worried that, you know, you won't be able to make an income that can sustain your lifestyle. But I also feel like for some of you that this is literally pointing to you and like your own beliefs about yourself and what you're capable of. I think that what Spirit wants you to know is that you are 1,000% capable of doing anything it is that you want to do. But I don't think that you guys necessarily believe that about yourselves and your situation. I apologize again for my Frenchie in the background. He's being rude right now. But I can't kick him out, you know, he's so needy. I feel like if you've been here for a while, you know that, because I mention it all the time. He has to be like right next to me at all times. So let me see if I can get him to chill here. He's just like rubbing his back against the floor. So my apologies for interrupting your reading again, pile number one. But anyway, I feel like there's just something that's holding you back, and truthfully, I feel like it's you that's holding you back, and your need, this like need that you have to be able to do and take care of everything on your own, especially if you're somebody that is like has a spouse or, you know, somebody else that could help in terms of like income. I just feel like you have this overwhelming need and like ideology that you're supposed to be able to take care of everything on your own, and not that you shouldn't have to ask other people for help. But I do feel like in some instances here, it may be that you just don't believe you're capable in actually making a living out of what you want to do. And so I feel like that may be what is holding you back, to be honest. With the Ten of Swords here, you guys, one other thing that I meant to mention here is that if this is related to travel, you know, some of you could have apprehension around travel. You could be nervous about traveling. There could be actual anxieties and worries, and, you know, you just don't know how it would all work out, especially, you know, if you're somebody that's wanting to travel for a year or 2 or 3. And if this includes international travel, you know, you're thinking about all of the things that could go wrong, all of the things that could hold you back potentially, and you're very consumed in that, or at least you were. And that's not like the best headspace to be in at all. It's hard to sit there and, you know, discount yourself and like think that you're not capable. And really, like, one thing that I would suggest to you guys, if you still are here mentally, is, you know, going through the scenarios of the things that could happen and like playing out, okay, this would be the worst case scenario. What would I do in this instance? So let's say that you're traveling and you run out of money. What is the worst case scenario that you would run out of money and you wouldn't be able to continue to pay for your travels? Okay, so at that point, maybe you'd have to go home. Maybe you would have to try and get like some, you know, work virtually or some work locally and wherever you are to, you know, help finance yourself again. There are always options. There are always things that we can do. So like, don't count yourself out because you've thought of the worst case scenario and you're like, yeah, you know, I shouldn't do it. It's stupid because this could happen. Well, you know, the worst case scenario could happen all of the time. So it's really just kind of working through your anxieties there and figuring out, okay, what would I do if that did happen? With the Ten of Swords here, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I feel like this is Spirit saying that either you're forcibly going to have to make a decision, or you're going to, you know, be able to come to some transformative decision yourself. So especially with the Ten of Swords, you know, this is my God, this is showing us that there is the sun on the horizon. Like, a new day will always come, even though things have to come to an end, even though, you know, it can be difficult for change to happen. This is like showing me that you'll have like a hopeful new beginning. Like, again, you know, the light always comes back around. The sun always comes and rises for another day. And, you know, you will be able, this will happen for you, is what I'm seeing. Okay. And that's what I'm essentially hearing from Spirit, is that change is not always a bad thing, okay? We need to have change so that we're able to grow. So whether it's, you know, you're wanting to quit your job, you're wanting to travel, you're wanting to do something you're more passionate about, whatever it is for you, you really need to work on changing your mindset. And you need to work on the things that you say to yourself about what you're capable of. And you need to understand that you are capable of doing absolutely anything you want to do. Do not hold yourself back in your thinking and thinking that, you know, you can't do it because you're not smart enough, because you're not, you know, resourceful enough, because you're not unique enough, because there's not things about you that people will like. It's just not true, okay? You have to stop holding yourself back. And really, like, what I'm hearing from Spirit here too with the Knight of Swords is you need to take action. Even if it's not you, so like, let's say for instance, you are wanting to start, like, quit your job so that you can start something up where you work online, for yourself, for instance, let's say. And I'm not saying you have to like quit your job tomorrow when you're not currently making like an income from what it is you're wanting to do. I'm saying that you need to take little actionable steps every single day to get you where you want to be. Because if you don't want to be here anymore, where you're constantly, and like, also to me, this is somebody that, if you look at this card, she's looking outside at the window, like she's looking toward the horizon outside, and it's like, this is where she really wants to be. And this is where she currently is, right? And she has no interest in this anymore. She has no interest in this career that she has, this life that she has, any of this. She's wanting to move on and move forward from it. And so I think that's also why the Ten of Swords is showing up here, because you need to move on from whatever it is that's currently holding you back and, you know, making you feel like your life is meaningless, like it's like you're just doing things because you need to feel like a sense of security. You're not doing things because you enjoy them. You know, I personally like don't think anybody should work a job or do anything in their life that makes them miserable. So maybe you not traveling makes you miserable. Go and travel. Maybe you working like your 9-to-5 desk job makes you miserable. Find a different job. You know, there are a lot of different things out there that you can do. And again, I'm not saying that you have to like quit your job right away, so that you can move on to the next thing, but like start taking steps towards that, because ultimately Spirit is saying like you need to make a change. And what I said earlier about change will come regardless is what I feel like I'm hearing from Spirit is if you don't make a change, the universe is going to shift in such a way that you are forced to make a change. So maybe, you know, you'll be forced to quit your job. And like, let me rephrase that. So maybe it'll get to a point where, you know, you don't get a raise, so you like have to quit that job because it's not feasible for you to continue staying there, especially like in the USA where like rent prices are skyrocketing. So let's say for instance you live somewhere where the inflation rate is like crazy and the price of your rent goes up like 20% from last year or like your last contract year, and you are at your job but they don't give you a raise, or they only give you like a 3% raise, and it's just not enough to cover your life anymore. It's not enough for you to be able to like take care of yourself and pay your bills. So at that point you're like, well, I've got to quit anyway and look for another job. So like what I feel like I'm hearing from Spirit is that irregardless, like a change is coming for you. You're going to have to make a change in yourself and in the things that you're currently doing, because I really get this sense that what you're currently doing is not good for you. It's making you miserable. And you have no interest in it anymore. And maybe at one point it was something you enjoyed, but you don't have any interest in it anymore. You know that you want to move on. You know you want to do something differently. So you need to do that. And again, we can take small steps every day. We don't have to leap into the unknown right away. But, you know, if we're wanting to start our business, okay, so we give ourselves an objective one day to pick out a color palette, or, you know, put something up on Facebook, like create our own Facebook business page. Or if you're wanting to start that YouTube channel, then you start it, you come up with your username, you start, you know, doing your channel art and things like that, you know, whatever it is, small little things that you can do every day to get you where you want to be. With the Nine of Pentacles and the Sun coming up, I feel like ultimately you making change is going to be favorable for you, okay? So I also want to stress to you that Spirit is saying that any change that you're wanting to make is okay, all right? You don't have to continue to second guess yourself, because I feel like that's what some of you are doing here, is you were second guessing yourself and thinking, okay, well, I'm not capable of that, or that's like a far-fetched dream or whatever. It's only far-fetched because you're allowing yourself to believe it is, okay? What I'm hearing from Spirit is that any choice that you want to make that like truly you're passionate about and like is something that inspires you and makes you feel full of life and full of energy, that's what's good for you. That's something that you should be doing. And ultimately with like the Nine of Pentacles and the Sun coming out here, I feel like by you making change, by you taking actionable steps toward whatever it is you're wanting to do, you're going to be able to cultivate a life for yourself where you're comfortable, where you're able to literally like harvest the fruits of your labor. You're able to be comfortable and be relaxed and be happy and joyful and be able to like give more to the people around you because you have more of a resource. And so that's why I do feel like, honestly, you guys, a lot of this is related to career, but for some of you, this could also be like you regaining your self-confidence. I do feel like you lack a level of self-confidence and belief in yourself, and that's why you're being held back here with making a decision. And so, you know, with the Nine of Pentacles coming out here, it's like you're regaining this surety in yourself. You're regaining this trust that you had in yourself. And you're able to shine. You're able to do the things that truly light you up and bring you joy. And you're really able to like let your personality shine as well, you know. So I do feel like for some of you, this could be related to you making some sort of online presence. For others, it could just be like you moving up into higher positions where you feel like you can actually make a change and do something, you know, that matters. But regardless, I feel like overall this is going to be good for you. You have to let your personality shine though, okay? We cannot hold ourselves back because we don't think we're good enough, because we don't think people will like us, because we don't think whatever. When you put yourself out there, like, I get it. Starting a YouTube channel or whatever is terrifying. Putting yourself out there is terrifying, but we need to do it so we can grow, so we can actually get to where we want to, especially if that's what we're wanting, right? Just let yourself shine. And there's always going to be people that try and dim your light. Who cares? Like, they don't matter at the end of the day. All that matters is that you're doing what makes you happy, and you will attract the right people along the way. I promise you, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look at your oracle cards here and see what other information we can get from Spirit. So first off, we have Sacred Pool. We have Protecting Treasure. Okay. Very interesting. So these are actually very similar cards. And what I mean by that is currently, like, what you're doing is, with Sacred Pool coming out, what it's saying to me is that what you believe you're capable of is currently being reflected back to you in your own reality. You can literally, like, we all come from source, right? We're all here like souls living out a human experience, okay? You can create and do whatever it is you want to do. But when we sit there and we tell ourselves, I'm not capable, I can't do it, I don't want to make a decision, I don't know what's best for me, blah, 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 that is what's going to be reflected back to you in your current reality. So again, I feel like this is emphasis from Spirit that like you have the ability to do whatever you want and transform your life however you want to. But you have to believe that you can, right? Because, you know, I heard this the other day and it really stood out to me, so maybe it will for you as well. Maybe it's something you need to hear. The people that we see in our reality that are doing the things that we wish we could do, we see them for a reason. Because they are an acknowledgement to us from the universe that we can do anything. We are capable of doing anything. Anything is possible for us. No one in this lifetime is special. Like, what I mean by that is, you know, just because you think that, you know, whatever YouTuber you aspire to be, or whoever on TikTok or whatever, just because you think they have it easy, you think that they're special and there's something about them that makes them more special than you, it's not true, okay? We all have the capability to create the same lives that they have and cultivate the same lives that they have. And I think that also that's what the Nine of Pentacles is a reminder of, is that you have the ability to cultivate whatever it is you want. And the things that we see, the people that we see in our reality are a reminder of that. We really have no limitations on what it is we're able to accomplish. The only limitation is you. So I would advise you to look at yourself in the mirror and figure out why that is. Why is it that you are holding yourself back? With Protecting Treasure, this is actually interesting that this came up. I want to read it from the book actually for you, if you guys don't mind, because I'm not super familiar with this card, like the most familiar with it. And I'm just feeling called to read from the book because I think that it will help us get the most out of the meaning. So Protecting Treasure here, you are always protected and divinely directed. Okay. that actually helped me enough. But we'll go ahead and read it from the book here as well. So, although this is a time of great risk, know that at a fundamental level, you were able to move forward safely and securely. The proverbial nest egg is safe and sound no matter the fluctuations in the world. Guardian angels and other guides are whispering to you, making you aware of their protective presence. Your loyalty is an important theme now. Nurture that which you hold dear. This is a good time to strengthen bonds of friendship and ensure their integrity. If you feel tested right now, know that a true and loyal heart always achieves its aim. Take refuge under an angel's wing. You are not alone and have no need to fear. Embrace your courage. So what I'm getting from that pile number 1 for you guys is that Spirit is letting you know that they are here. They are protecting you. Make the decisions that are in most alignment with you. Make the decisions that are best suited for you. You ultimately do know what is best for you. And if you're ever not sure like what you want to do, ask your guides for sign, for some level of guidance. You know, maybe you will ask them like, hey, if I'm supposed to do this, like if I'm supposed to make this decision, will you show me this? Or will you have like whatever brought to me? I'm like not explaining it the best. I actually listened to an old episode. I started listening to Chloe Taylor on here, to her podcast, because I think it's really great. And I just like listening to her. She's one of those people for me that she has so many like nuggets of wisdom. And I'm somebody that I feel like I get messages from Spirit auditorily. And so I like to listen to people like that because I feel like messages come in for me specifically to hear from Spirit. And she actually had, I think this was back in 2020, guys. Like, don't quote me on it. I've been listening to like really old episodes of her podcast. But anyway, I believe that she talked about, you know, how to connect with your spirit guides. And she mentioned in her podcast that one thing that she did was, you know, ask them for signs, ask them to show her certain things, but also like, you know, just by wanting to connect with them, you know, asking them for coffee or stevia or whatever, you know, and just seeing how those things are presented to you in the world from your spirit guides. It's like strengthening that connection for you. But yeah, I would say that if you're worried about certain decisions, you can definitely ask for a sign. Your guides will never hesitate to give you a sign, and you know, they're not going to get irritated with you if this is the 100th sign you've asked for. They will show it to you again. But just know that, you know, if you keep on getting these signs affirming what it is you think you want to do it, because like don't doubt that it's a message from your spirit guides. It definitely is, especially if you're like continuing to get these messages over and over again that you're asking for. It's confirmation. Take it as such and do with that what you will. Okay, we have a couple more oracle cards for you guys today as well. So we have regeneration, surprise, and higher power. Okay, I love that higher power came out for you guys. I really feel like this is Spirit coming out and saying like, you're divine, you're connected to source, connected to a higher being, you're connected to your spirit guides. They're here to protect you and love you, and they will always be here to help guide you. But don't like hold yourself back ever. Do the things that you really want to do, go after them, and the universe will follow in accordance with what it is you're wanting to create. But you have to be confident in yourself and believe that you're able and capable to do the things that you want to do. But you know, this I feel like is just a reminder that, again, like I said earlier, you're a soul living a human experience. Like, have fun, okay? Enjoy your life, make out of it what you want it to be. Don't hold yourself back. That is like astoundingly, overwhelmingly the things that people say on their deathbeds, right? Is that they wish they would have done this, or they wish they would have done that, or they wish they would have taken this opportunity. Do it. Take the opportunity, take the risk, do the thing. Again, you're divinely protected. You are literally, like, I actually love this because it's, you know, a girl here in the rain, like over a treasure chest with an umbrella over her. Again, that's like spirit saying, we're here for you, we've got you covered, we've got your back. No matter what option it is that you take, as long as you're doing something that is most aligned with you and what you're wanting and like what you're truly passionate and interested in, you're gonna be fine. Okay, so stop holding yourself back and limiting yourself. And then with regeneration, isn't it funny that we got that with the 10 of Swords, which to me is very much so like rebirth. Again, we have regeneration here, which is very much so the same thing. You know, sometimes we have to scorch the earth in order for beautiful things to grow, and that's essentially what we're getting here, right? Like we have scorched earth and then this beautiful tree that's starting to bloom and blossom. And sometimes we have to like leave things behind, let things go, move on from our current situations in order for us to blossom and grow and be able to sprout and cultivate the things that we truly want out of this life. Okay, so don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of, you know, having to burn and till the soil, and allow it to turn over, allow it to regenerate, allow it to grow, and allow the things that you plant to grow there as well. We have 2 more cards for you before we get into your book divination here, pile number 1. So finally we have gentle moderation here. We have take your time, pressure from others or yourself can be released by regenerating what you are trying to accomplish, or renegotiating, sorry. I'll read that again here in a minute. And then we have let your personality shine. You have something no one else has that makes you who you are. Stop comparing yourself to others and allow your uniqueness to shine through. So again, with the gentle moderation, we have take your time, pressure from others or yourself can be released by renegotiating what you are trying to accomplish. So I feel like this is actually coming out for you guys because, again, as I said in the beginning, you need to take small actionable steps every day to get where you want to go. You know, you don't have to build a whole YouTube channel overnight and post 50 videos and have 1 million subscribers in 3 weeks. Like, you don't have to do those things. It's about the journey, okay? It's about what we discover about ourselves on the way to the journey. Trust me, y'all, I am not a patient person, okay? I don't have like any earth in my big 3. I don't have any earth in my inner planets. I literally am crazy, cuckoo bananas, fire, air, water, mostly water. And I like things to happen quickly. I get it, okay? But not everything that we're meant to cultivate and have in this life, and not everything worth having is going to happen for you overnight, okay? It's just not going to. It's going to take small, consistent effort over time, and also you working on yourself and your self-limiting beliefs and what you think you're capable of along the way. So really push yourself, you know, step out of your comfort zone, let yourself shine because you're meant to shine, and really let your personality through, especially if you're somebody that is trying to build like an online presence. It's important for you to let people see your personality and who you are. So yeah, I think that's really all that I have for your reading today, you guys. I'm going to leave that there. Let's go ahead and look at our book here again, and we're just going to flip to a random page, and we will go ahead and read. I may just go ahead because I think there's poems on both sides, so we may read both of them because maybe it'll be messages, you know, that you need to hear on both sides, but we'll see. Anyway, let's go ahead and flip. Okay. So we have for you guys immersed. Our letters of love became the bridge to deeper understanding, a place where ordinary words could not survive. Recall, when our paths crossed, I felt as if we had met in another time. Your laugh had me in thought, your smile had me dreaming, and your joy left me in awe. Okay, guys, I actually really like this and I just got goosebumps. So with the immersed coming out, I feel like this is actually speaking about you learning to love and nurture yourself. I feel like Spirit had this one come up for you guys because, again, we need you to say loving things to yourself and be gentle with yourself, and don't be so critical of yourself, and don't put yourself in these boxes thinking that you're only capable of certain things. You're not ordinary, okay? You are capable of so much more than what you're giving yourself credit for. So be kind to yourself, show yourself love and compassion. And again, you know, what I feel like this is saying ultimately too, so let's read it again. Our letters of love became the bridge to deeper understanding, a place where ordinary words could not survive. So I feel like this is saying to us too, you know, by you showing yourself love and compassion, you know, you are going to become your own bridge to a better understanding of yourself and what triggers you and, you know, what you need to feel whole and happy and complete. And, you know, this self-talk, like this negative self-talk that you have going on currently, you thinking you're not capable of things, that is what's going to slowly die off, okay? So really, like, when things come up for you, really try to detach and understand like why these emotions or these thoughts are coming up for you, and try to have a better understanding of that, especially like when emotions come up, when we're triggered in certain ways. Try to have a better understanding of why that happens, because I don't think we ever all get to a point where we're like not triggered by things, right? I think we get better and better and better about not allowing ourselves to become like fully engulfed by those things anymore. But, you know, we can be healed or think we've moved past something and still be triggered by something that comes up. I think that the difference when you're like working through your shit is acknowledging that and knowing that, okay, I was triggered. This is why. This is what I need to do to like calm myself down, get myself back into balance so that I can have the conversations I need to or move forward the way that I need to. Okay, so that's what I'm feeling here with immersed. With recall, I actually think that this has to do with, you know, those of you that are wanting to create an online presence. I feel like personally there are certain people that I gravitate towards or am more drawn towards on YouTube, on TikTok, on whatever. And I think it's because we're meant to be drawn to those people, right? They're supposed to illuminate some sort of path or ideology for us. They may even be a part of like our soul tribe. And so like I was saying to you earlier, you know, let yourself shine, let your personality shine. And those that are meant to, you know, be a part of your community will be. Those that want to support you will. Those that see the light in you will. And we can't force the people that don't like us and don't see the light in us to see those things, okay? It's just not going to happen. But just know, like, you being joyful, you being like your best self and really like feeding into what makes you passionate and excited and just motivated and like, I don't know, makes you feel like this life has meaning to it, whatever that is, like that is going to touch other people. And I think that that's what this is saying too, is that, you know, your enthusiasm and who you are is going to touch other people and allow them to tap into other parts of themselves, as well as to allow them to, you know, see you and love you for who you are. So just be yourself, okay? Be authentic, be yourself, and let your personality shine, okay, pile number one. So that's what I have for you guys today. I hope that you enjoyed this reading and that it resonated for you. If it did, please leave me a comment down below and give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do put out new pick a card readings once a week. I love you guys. I'm sending you so much love, and I really hope that you work through what's been going on for you and you make it to this beautiful other side. Anyway, guys, love you. Again, thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number twos. If you chose the Euphoria book, then this is your reading in regard to what messages Spirit has for you. So we will get to the book divination at the end of the reading. We're actually going to go through your tarot, your oracle cards, and then we will get the book divination from Euphoria when we are done. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get started, you guys. Just as a warning, my dog is in the room with me, so you may hear him in the background like snoring or messing around with things, whatever. if you've been here for a while and you've seen my other tarot videos, you know that I just don't have the heart to kick him out. So I'll just let him stay, it's fine. But I do apologize if there's a lot of noise in the background. I'll do my best to pause or speak up over his loudness. Anyway, let me take off my Apple Watch. That's embarrassing. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into your reading, you guys. So first off, we have your tarot cards here. You got the 10 of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords, Death, 9 of Pentacles, Ace of Cups, and the 7 of Swords. So the thing that I was drawn to the most when I was laying out your cards was the Ace of Swords here and the 7 of Swords. I get this feeling that you guys are really smart. Like you're very, very bright, and you are somebody that over intellectualizes a lot of things. Like you're somebody that thinks about things a lot deeper than other people may. You may be that type of person that like ruminates on a conversation that you had with somebody from like years ago where you feel like you embarrassed yourself, or I don't know, I'm really getting like Virgo Gemini vibes when it comes to like your mind here. I feel like your mind is very vast and expansive, and there's always something going on inside your mind. Like your mind is constantly working. You may be the type of person that struggles to sleep at night because you just can't shut your brain up. Your brain is constantly going. And I feel like because of that, there are parts of yourself that come up from your subconscious mind, from like your everyday interactions, just things that you think about yourself, that you think about other people. And like, I'm not passing judgment because I don't know you and I don't know the kind of things that you think, but I really feel like with the 7 of Swords coming out here that there's a piece of you mentally that you really try to like push down to the deepest depths of the black corners of your mind, if that makes sense. I feel like there is a darkness, and we all have a darkness to us, to be fair. We all have light and dark aspects. We're not all, perfectly made of light all of the time. There are things about us that are dark and deep, and I just feel like you really try to push that down and you really don't acknowledge it. And even when it does come up, you let it kind of come up and fester for a while. Like you'll ruminate on things from the past, things that you don't like about yourself for a lot longer than you should. Like I get the feeling that once you kind of get going on a thought, like train of thought, you literally spiral, like your mind spirals out of control. And so I think that's why you try and push this part of you so far down, because when it does come up, it just brings up so much more darkness. And I just want to tell you that unfortunately, like you can't push this down so much that it's never going to show up again. We all have like dark aspects to ourselves, and there is nothing wrong with your darkness. Your darkness isn't any worse than somebody else's darkness. And it's actually best if we acknowledge those pieces of us as opposed to trying to shut them up and push them down and silence them, because what we resist ultimately will persist. And so it's honestly better for you to feed into your darkness and to accept every part of you, even the parts of yourself that you don't like. I feel like by you ignoring this part of yourself, it's actually creating more anxiety for you, in terms of like social interactions with other people, as well as some of you may not even like to be alone because you don't like to be alone with your own thoughts. And I don't think it has anything to do with like, you needing to be around people all of the time. I'm feeling like it's more that you would rather like be around people, or like you constantly have things playing in the background. Like you don't really like to sit in silence because you don't like your mind to go to the deepest, darkest places, because you just don't really love to deal with those things. And I feel like honestly, death is coming up here, because it's time for you to change that. It's time for you to let go of this ideology that you have that like these parts about you should constantly continue to be suppressed. I feel like you're in need of some level of transformation in terms of the way that you think about yourself and other people and the world. And I just feel like you're in need of change. And that's why death is coming out here, because it's time for you to let go of those old ways and patterns of being. And, you know, for us to do that, it's hard work. I'm not going to lie. You know, it's very draining. It takes a lot of effort to fix your thought patterns, to really sit there and think about, like, for instance, you know, when a negative thought comes up, sitting there and being like, okay, well, why do I feel that way? You know, why is this popping up for me? Like, what is triggering me? What's causing this to happen? Why am I wanting to act that way? And so I really do think that part of like our development, if you're, you know, somebody that really cares to better yourself, the part of our development, we get to this point where we are very much so focused in our mind and we are asking ourselves, okay, well, why do I feel that way? Like, it's interesting too, because, you know, within the tarot, we have different suits, right? And typically the first suit in the tarot will be the wands, then we'll have the cups, then we'll have the swords, and then we'll have the pentacles. And I really like to look at it as, you know, we transition from having like big feelings to trying to understand those feelings, right? Trying to understand why we feel a certain way towards things, or we act a certain way, or why when somebody does X to us, it triggers, you know, Z. And it's just, I feel like you're in this stage of really trying to figure that out. And truthfully, I think that you're headed toward a big transformation with it. I feel like what Spirit is saying is that it's time for you to really lean into that and start asking yourself, why do I believe these things? Why do I think this way? So that you can continue to grow and heal parts of yourself. But you know, it's hard to sit there and things that become second nature to you in terms of the way that you think, and sitting there and saying, okay, well, why do I think that way? Why is this triggering me? For instance, I'll give you an example. I am somebody that, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to make like you're reading all about me. I'm just trying to like make what I'm saying relevant to you and like make it make sense. So I am somebody that has like a lot of childhood wounds to work through still. And one thing that I've had to do is, so like, let me backtrack a little bit more. Sorry, like ADHD brain. So I am a nurse, and I've mentioned that before on this channel, but I'm a nurse, and I actually work with children, and I love working with kids. I personally don't want any children of my own. That's a story for a different day and time. But I like working with kids. And the thing about kids is that in the setting that I work in, you know, there's a lot of injections that are given. There's a lot of, you know, poking and prodding at children. We start IVs, we do testing, we, you know, do injections and all of these things. And, you know, kids get scared. It's scary to think that somebody's going to be poking and prodding around inside of you, especially if you're a kid that has a lot of medical trauma anyway, because as a child, you've been in and out of the hospital and yada, yada, yada. And one thing that I really had to work through and like ask myself about is I used to get very triggered when I would be in a room with a child who was screaming and crying and kicking and, you know, didn't want to, like, would refuse to be touched, would refuse to let us poke them, you know, just would be very combative, right? Because as a child, I wasn't allowed to express those feelings. If I was scared, I wasn't allowed to act out like that in public. My parents didn't accept that, and there was punishment for acting those certain ways, right? And it's something that I've had to work through, because the thing is that a child should not be triggering big feelings in me as an adult. As an adult, I should be able to sit there and empathize and understand why that child is upset and scared and have a conversation with them. And that is something that I've had to work through, as opposed to letting myself get angry. I sit there and I'm like getting angry and impatient, waiting for this child to calm down, when in reality, they're just a child and my issues aren't theirs, right? So me projecting this idea onto them that they should be able to handle the poking and the needles and the scary things that we do without making any noise, that's me projecting my own shit onto them. That has nothing to do with them, right? And it took me a really long time to realize that. It took me a very long time. Like, I didn't start really acknowledging that and analyzing that reaction that I was having until I was like 26. And I feel like this is kind of what Spirit is saying to you. Like, it's time for you to really start understanding these parts of yourself that you've hidden off. Really start understanding the complexities of your mind and why you think about things in a certain way, because ultimately it's going to lead you to the person you want to be. By us unraveling trauma from our past, it allows us to transform. It allows for rebirth to happen. And I think that that is essentially what Spirit is saying here for you. With the Ace of Cups coming up, I feel like this is an acknowledgement to you to be gentle with yourself. This work is not easy. Like, it's literally some of the hardest stuff I've ever had to do, because I have to come to terms with myself and who I really fucking am. And that's scary sometimes. But it can be done. But like, you have to give yourself grace and patience and love and understanding through it. And you have to meet yourself where you are currently. So, you know, you're not going to be able to do like the hardest of the hard shadow work at this point in time. You know, if you're just starting off, you're going to have to start off taking some baby steps, and that's okay. But you do need to give yourself some compassion and some understanding while you're working through these things. Another thing that's like coming up for me right now is Spirit really wants you to know that even though you're going to go on this journey and you're going to start healing your mind and healing these parts of yourself, you know, once you get to the other side, it's not like you're never going to be triggered by things again. It's not like you are never going to have certain thoughts again. It's just more so that you start to understand them and you start to actually look at them and be like, are these, you know, things that I want to continue doing or saying about myself or other people, or are these things that I want to change? But yeah, I think that you need to afford yourself like a great level of love and patience and kindness and understanding, the same that you would give to a friend or, you know, somebody else that's not yourself, because let's be real, we're all the hardest on ourselves. We're all the meanest to ourselves. So be kind to yourself while you're going through this. It's not going to be easy, and be kind to this like dark side of you that you keep trying to run from, because this is still a part of you, and it's okay to love and accept that part of you, even though it's dark and it's, you know, it's like your little inner demon, and like accepting and loving that part of yourself, because it's still a part of you. Okay. I feel like with the 9 and the 10 of Pentacles coming out, actually, this is what's going to allow you to really cultivate the life that you're wanting for yourself. It's interesting because for myself anyway, the more and more that I learn and the more that I, you know, delve into who I am, one thing that I think is a truth that isn't talked about enough is the spiritual community is a great community, but I feel like there's this overemphasis sometimes on being on like toxic positivity. Just be positive, just have a high vibration, just do this, this, and this, and you'll ascend to, you know, the highest level, or you'll attract all of these things to you. And, you know, while I think that's true to a degree, I also think that by us actually doing the work and working on who we are and like our actual thought processes and, you know, being able to change ourselves from the inside out, that's what attracts true abundance to us. That's what attracts the life that we want to us, because I really believe that we have to become that person that we think about and fantasize about becoming in our head before we're able to get all the things that we wanted, right? Because it wouldn't make sense for you to be this bitter, miserable person and have all of these things that you imagine having when you're at your like peak highest self, right? So like personally, I imagine my peak highest self being somebody that's very patient and understanding, and somebody that's very giving and kind and generous, and somebody that is comfortable in who they are and the things that they, you know, have to give to the world, and like their true authentic self. I feel like that is really what we're seeing here, is like the journey of your own authenticity and like accepting yourself for who you are. But yeah, I just see myself as like, you know, being this person who I don't even want to like over describe it, but like I hope you kind of get my gist with what I mean, right? When we sit there and think about, you know, all of the things that we truly want to manifest and like bring into our reality, we think that we're going to be a completely different person when those things come to us, right? Like they'll come to us and then we'll be happy, and then we'll be thin, and then we'll be beautiful, and then we'll be this, that, and whatever. But if you haven't done the work on yourself internally, you're not going to be any of those things. You're just going to have more stuff and like feel the exact same way. And it's honestly going to be really fucking shitty, because you're gonna have thought, oh, I, you know, did all this work, or I worked really hard to get all of the physical things that I wanted, but why am I still so miserable? So really, like, I feel like for you, you're somebody that once you do this internal work, Spirit is saying you will be rewarded. You'll be able to really cultivate the things that you want out of your life. You'll have this acceptance for yourself, for like who you are, your genuine authenticity. You'll, you know, learn to at least have a level of like body neutrality, if not really loving your body and appreciating your body for what it is, which is a vessel that carries you around every day and has been with you since you were born. And then with the 10 of Pentacles here, I feel like honestly, by you doing this, it's going to allow you to build and root connections with other people. So I feel like if you're not already in a relationship, this is going to bring you a partner, bring you somebody to create a life with. And then if you already do have a partner, it's really going to deepen your connection that you have with this partner, as well as allow you to create this life for your kids. And you know, you may not have kids, whatever, for babies, because we got a dog here and we got little kids running around, but create a life for like your next generation that you wanted for yourself, right? There are things that we all wish that we would have had as children that we didn't get from our parents, and what I'm seeing here is somebody that gives their kids both the physical and emotional things that they needed as a child, because you know, you have been able to accept yourself and heal your own wounds that you have from childhood, and really like reconnect and integrate with your inner child. And, you know, I feel like you'll do a lot of the emotional work that would allow you to be a great parent that is patient and kind, but also is able to provide physically and financially for their children and give them the life that they always wanted. So let me go ahead. I'm going to take a drink here, guys, and we'll get into your oracle cards here as well. So we have Never Ending Story here, and we have Why. Okay, very interesting. So with Never Ending Story coming up, I really feel like this is playing into what we were talking about in the beginning with your mind. I feel like you've been in a like cycle for a very long time, and you keep on repeating the same mental cycles over and over and over again. And you also may be attracting the same kind of partner into your life, the same kind of situations with people, whatever it may be. And it's time to literally transform out of that. It's time to end this cycle. Okay, so you're only going to continue to hurt yourself by not working on yourself, by not doing the deep inner work that is needed for you to truly transform your life, okay? And with why coming up here, I think that this is a reminder to you of, I'm seeing that you can really cultivate a beautiful life for yourself. And, I'm not saying you have to have kids. I'm not saying you have to get married. I'm not saying any of that, because this could literally be like you having the freedom to express yourself as who you truly are, and just making deep connections with people on like a friendship, platonic level as well. But you have to ask yourself why. Why do you want to change? What is it about these cycles that you want to break? Because again, I'm seeing that you've been living in a cycle for a while. Like, you have been living you have almost made like your brain a prison, because you continue to repeat the same things over and over and over again, the same kind of relationships, the same kind of thought patterns, the same kind of starting and stopping things because it doesn't go exactly as you planned it to. And it's time to change that. It's time to break out of that. And I really do get this sense from Spirit that that's what you're wanting to do, but why? Why is that important to you? Really dig deep as to why the change will be important for you and the things that you want to bring about by making these changes. Maybe you want to become more patient. Maybe you want to be more understanding. Maybe you want to be able to have more empathy for other people. Maybe you just want to better understand yourself on a deep level and the things that trigger and affect you, so that you can, keep yourself from hurting other people, right? Because we're all just inner children walking around hurting each other until we break the cycle. So why do you want to break the cycle? What is it that you want to change? And maybe for some of you, you want to be better parents than the parents you had. You want to be more emotionally involved in your kids' lives than your parents were for you. And I'm not saying you had bad parents. I didn't have terrible parents. My parents were just emotionally immature and didn't know how to give me the things emotionally that I needed. You may be in the same situation. So what is it? Why? Why do you want to make these changes? And really hold on to that. Because again, these changes are not going to be easy. So you really need to get in touch with why you want to do these things. Let's take a look at your other oracle cards here. So I have 2 more after this, but we also have for you Sad Embrace and Field of Dreams. Okay. So I feel like the Sad Embrace is coming up. Mostly for me, I feel like this has to do with the wounded parts of yourself that you haven't dealt with. Maybe even that darkness that you haven't dealt with. There's a part of you that truly needs love and connection that you have avoided. And for a lot of us, it ends up being our inner child. It could be your inner teen. It could be you from 5 years ago, when you neglected yourself and you didn't take care of yourself. Maybe you stayed in a relationship that was abusive that you shouldn't have stayed in. Maybe you gave up on a dream or something that you really wanted for yourself. And I think that there's a part of you that truly needs to be comforted. You need to go back and speak to that previous version of yourself and comfort yourself, and be there for yourself and remind yourself that you will always be here and you will always validate yourself. But yeah, I feel for some of you too, this could be you trying to, your brain essentially protecting you and trying to keep you from embarking on this change that is so deeply needed. Because ultimately, what does our brain like to do? It likes to protect us at all costs, even when it means that it's ultimately harming us, right? Because our subconscious mind is formed by the time we're 8 years old. And so, this is just a reminder to you that, I'm sorry, I totally lost my train of thought there, guys. So sorry. But essentially what I was saying here is that, this is a reminder to you that it's okay to have parts of you that are sad and unhealed, but you need to go back and show those pieces of you love. And you need to let them know that you're there. I'm literally seeing this as your inner child literally crying in the corner, in the recesses of your mind, and just being scared and feeling alone because, that may have been one of your defense mechanisms as a child, is you just kind of closed off when people yelled at you or raised their voice at you or, you know, hurt you in some other way, emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever. And I think that you really need to show this piece of you that love that it's so desperately wanting. With Field of Dreams coming up, again, you guys, I feel like this is just a reiteration of the Pentacles here. It's again showing us that we're capable of creating whatever it is that we want out of this lifetime. But for you, I really do think that this healing journey is very essential to you creating what you want. By you actually changing the way that you think about things, the way you think about yourself, the world, other people, by you digging deep, that's what's going to allow you to literally create the life of your dreams, manifest abundance, manifest the things that you want out of your life. So I feel like this is just kind of a reiteration of that from Spirit. So we have 2 more cards for you guys before we get into your book divination here. So we have blend into the environment. You have many skills and can fit into any situation. Take time to assess what is going on around you and adapt accordingly. And then we also have the gift of neutrality. Balance is at work in your life. Yin and yang are opposites in energy, but reside side by side to create the gift of neutrality. So first of all here, with the blend into the environment, I feel like this is Spirit saying to you that you have the ability to be adaptable. You have the ability to make change. You know, the octopus here is an invertebrate. It doesn't have like a defined spinal column, right? The octopus can like bend and twist itself into the tiniest of crevices to blend in with the environment and hide from predators, right? You have the ability to morph and change into whatever it is you want to be, okay? But you have to be willing to put in the work to do it, right? Because, you know, the octopus, for instance, can't just like change instantaneously, has to like run over, kind of like fit itself into the corner and, you know, move and maneuver however it needs to get there, right? Also, like with this coming up, if you've never seen, I think it's on Netflix still, it's a documentary, it's called My Octopus Teacher. Oh my God, talk about bawl your eyes out, especially if you're somebody that loves like animals and sea creatures. Octopus are so smart. And I believe also this is Spirit pointing to how smart you are, because you're so brilliant and you have the ability to change the world, change yourself with your mind, okay? So don't stop thinking about the different ways that you can, you know, change and mold and blend and, you know, just create exactly what you're wanting to. But like I brought up the My Octopus Teacher because there are various different scenes in that. Sorry, my dog was making weird noises. There are various different scenes in that documentary where this octopus does that. This octopus like hides herself and like morphs herself. Like there's even this part where she like takes these like shells and other, you know, broken off pieces that are just kind of like laying at the bottom of the ocean floor. And she like takes them and like wraps herself up in them as like an armor, as like a defense mechanism. They're just like very smart and like crafty, right? Like they are, I think octopus are so freaking cool after watching that, but also like their ability to regenerate too. And again, I really feel like this is pointing to like rebirth with death, where it's like you have the ability to heal yourself and regenerate yourself. And like octopus can literally like grow a whole nother limb if they lose a limb. And I think that's really freaking cool. Sorry, my dog's like licking himself, being nasty. Bro, stop. Sorry. Anyway, with the gift of neutrality coming up here, I feel like, sorry. With the gift of neutrality coming up here, I feel like, this is kind of reminding you again to like bring balance to your inner world, but also like understand that it's okay to be like the neutral third party in situations, even when it comes to like yourself. So like you can get to a point where when you're analyzing your emotions or like analyzing other people and like a conversation that's happening, you can get to this point where you literally are just in an observational state of mind, where you separate yourself from the part of you that's being triggered, and you sit there and you think to yourself, okay, well, why is this part of me being triggered? Oh yeah, you know, that makes sense why this is coming up, because in my childhood, XYZ happened. All right, well, you know, my feelings are valid. They're always valid, but it's not okay for me to like blow up on other people because of the way that I feel. So, you know, really like separating yourself and like being in more of an observational state of mind when like certain emotions and things come up for you. But also like, I really do think that this is pointing to balance for you. So take small steps, show yourself love and acceptance along the way when you're healing. But also like, know that it's okay that there are parts of you that you may not like at first and you may not want to deal with at first. We still have to accept those parts of us. We still have to accept those deep parts of us, because again, we have yin and yang here who are two opposites. We have light and darkness that are two opposites, but we need them to come together to form like one whole entity, one whole being, and that's you, okay? So like, don't forget about those pieces of you along the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave your reading portion here, you guys. But we'll go ahead and look at, oh my gosh. Okay, chills. Sorry, I like had never looked at the back of this book before. It's so funny how like spirit comes out and like speaks to you in different ways. I tell you guys, like it's crazy. We're gonna go ahead and read book divination from here for you. I just want to read you the book though, or I mean the back of the book here though. It says, I can wander far from my origins, but I know I will be welcomed home with open arms. And I really, guys, I'm like gonna cry. I feel like this is spirit saying to you, like, you can have wandered and like been so separate from your true authentic self, from who you really are. And it kind of reminds me of this quote that I've been hearing a lot, this idea that maybe we, you know, don't have to learn who we are. Maybe it's that we have to unlearn all of the things that we aren't, and make our way back to ourselves. And oh my God, I just like got the chills, like, oh my God, I'm actually like tearing up. I might cry. But I think that's so beautiful, because again, it's like saying to you, you know, it doesn't matter how far you wander away from who you really are, how far away you get from who you really are. When you start to work your way back to yourself, you're going to be welcomed with open arms, like you're coming home essentially. That's really beautiful. I think it's crazy that that came up. Literally, I'm telling you, I've never looked at the back of this book. If you'll remember from the intro of this video, these are my husband's poetry books. I just like happened to find them and was like, oh yeah, cool, let's do some book divination. But yeah, that's really cool. Okay, let's go ahead and flip to a page for you guys. Sorry, I'm trying to like get this loosened up here a little bit. Okay. All right. So we have disloyal. She was there through all your pain and suffering and every challenge and test, yet you betrayed her. Afterwards, you showered her with half-hearted apologies. She deserves so much more than a half-made man. Oh my God. Okay, guys. I'm actually gonna cry. For me, again, this is literally spirit saying to you that I feel like the she was like your higher self, or like even you as a child, saying that she was there through all your pain and suffering and every challenge and test, yet you betrayed her. And I feel like what spirit is saying here is that as children, we're like the most pure pieces of ourselves, right? Because we haven't been ruined by the world yet. We haven't had other people place their shitty beliefs and ideas onto us and the way that we should feel about things onto us. And I feel like at some level, we all kind of betray ourselves and who we really are supposed to be, because, you know, We're told that we're not lovable unless we act a certain way. We're told that we're not good enough unless we act a certain way. We're told that, you know, if we look a certain way, we're not lovable, we're not valuable. And I really feel like you, more than anything, need to give yourself love, deep understanding, and compassion. And you really need to apologize to yourself and mean it for the things that you've done to yourself in the past. And that can be like even you being a people pleaser because you thought that that would get you more love and affection from those around you. And it was truly you being like super dishonest to yourself and who you were. And yeah, I feel like Spirit's saying that you were disloyal to yourself and it's time to come back to you. And, you know, with the half-made man part here, you know, this could be that somebody else betrayed you and hurt you. But I feel like it's pointing also to this fact that we're all just like broken children on the inside. And we contribute to so much of our own pain as well as the pain of others when we don't heal ourselves. And we all do deserve more than some broken half shell of an individual. We deserve to become this true, authentic version of ourselves. So stop betraying yourself. Lean into who you really are and love yourself for who you really are. And let yourself out. Let yourself shine. Don't let anybody put you in a box. Pile number 2. I really enjoyed this reading for you guys, and I actually am like crying. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. He's being so obnoxious right now. I swear, this dog. But anyways, thank you so much, pile number 2, for joining me. I'm sorry if this seemed a little discombobulated because my dog's in the room. But I love you guys so much. I really hope that this reading resonated for you and made you feel seen and heard and understood. But I love you guys. I'm wishing you all the best, and I'm really hoping all of the best for you on your journey forward. If this resonated for you, please leave me a comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do put out new pick a card readings once a week. And I would love to see you guys back for future videos. So anyway, thanks again so much, pile number 2, for joining me. And I do hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hi there, pile number 3. So as a reminder, if you guys picked the Serenity book, then this is your reading this week in regard to messages that Spirit has for you. And we will do the book divination at the end of your reading. So we're going to go ahead first and get into your tarot cards. Then we'll look at your oracle cards that you got this week. And then we will go ahead and do the book divination. Lucky for you guys. So we're going to look at the positive real quick. Lucky for you guys. My dog is not in the room anymore, so you won't be interrupted like pile number 2 was by my dog obnoxiously licking himself. But I do have to say that I feel like your message is a little bit harsh. I don't mean that in a bad way, okay? Like I told you guys in the beginning, I let whatever Spirit wanted to come through. And I just feel like yours is a bit more of a tough love message, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing that I was drawn to, so like look at how many court cards you have here. You have the King of Cups, the Queen of Cups, and the King of Swords. You have the 2 of Pentacles, the 5 of Swords, and the 6 of Pentacles. The card that stood out to me the most here was the 5 of Swords, and let me tell you why. So I get this overwhelming feeling that pile number 3, you guys hold yourself back a lot. And what I mean by that is you stand in your own way. That's a better way to put it. You're somebody that stands in your own way very frequently. Whether that be based on your mentality, whether that be based on what you do or don't think you're capable of, whether that be your inability to ask other people for help. I get this feeling that you are a hyper independent person, and you are somebody who often says things like, I can do it on my own. I don't need other people. I don't need a group. I don't need a community. I don't need this and that. I can take care of things on my own. And don't get me wrong, I think that a healthy level of independence is great for everybody. We should be self-reliant in a lot of different ways. But what's coming through, honestly, pile number 3 is Spirit is saying that you have a very difficult time trusting other people, trusting that other people will follow through, and you tend to only depend on yourself. Like, you may not be, but I get very strong Saturn Capricorn energy here, because Capricorn is that stubborn ass sign who will accomplish the things they want to accomplish, but makes it like 10 times harder on themselves to do it, right? They're the stubborn, like, mountain goat for a reason, okay? They will, endure all of the difficult obstacles when they could have taken an easier path by asking for help. And I really think that Spirit is telling you right now that you need to ask other people for help. Whether that be maybe for some of you, you're trying to build a business and maybe you need to seek out a mentor. Maybe you have kind of like your own business going on right now and you need to, bring people like employees on to help you. You need help. You can't do everything on your own. And I really feel like this is indicative of like you burning out, you having like this period where you're like, I have to walk away or give up on this because I can't maintain this anymore, because you won't ask other people for help. Like, we all need a level of balance, right? I feel like that's why the 2 of Pentacles came out here, is we all need a level of balance, okay? Whether that be work-life balance, whether that be, a balance in our diet and exercise, a balance in whatever, like, we all need balance, okay? We can't work ourselves to death. We can't stretch ourselves so thin and have nobody and nothing to fall back onto. Like I said, independence is great. I think that, we could all stand to be independent in our own way, but not so independent that you can't rely and depend on other people, because you need other people to help you. We all do. Okay, we don't get anywhere without the help and guidance of other people, right? And it doesn't even have to be that, you have someone hold your hand across the finish line the entire time, but like sometimes we need people to like, help us get set up properly, like at the start. Like, literally I'm getting an image in my mind of like somebody that's running track, right? And like when you're getting into position, like for your sprint or whatever, I'm thinking, of other people coming up, giving you a water, being like, hey, your shoe's untied, let me tie that for you real quick. Do you need anything right now before the race starts? Like, people being there to support you so that you have like the best chance of being successful. Does that make sense? And I just feel like you lack that level of balance in your life because you depend on yourself so much and don't let other people help you. You don't trust other people to help you. I really get the feeling that like in college or in high school, when you had group projects, you were the kid that just did everything because you didn't trust other people to actually do their part and get shit done. And again, while like it's great to be, independent, it's also like you did all this work and other people took credit for it and you busted your ass for what, when you should have like held other people accountable for their positions, right? So yeah, I just feel like Spirit is really reiterating over and over again, you need to ask other people for help. You can't continue to screw yourself over like this because you're only hurting yourself. I see this as like you versus you here, right? And you're not going to get here and be like the joyous, successful one if you continue to try to do everything on your own, okay? I feel like with the 6 of Pentacles coming out here, this is a reminder that like we all have something to gain from everybody else. I think I've mentioned this before. I'm a nurse, I work with kids, and I am, 27 years old, and I have kids that come into my place of work and they're like 4, 5, 10, 16, And I learn something every single day from a child or from a parent or from whoever, because I don't think that I'm above learning from somebody younger than me. I think that everybody that we come into contact with has the potential to teach us something, has the potential to, guide us in some way, shape, or form. And they don't even have to be somebody that like you pay to be a mentor, or like that you are openly, like you have an open mentor-mentee relationship. It can be somebody that you just listen to and you're like, wow, this person really speaks to me on many different levels and I really adore this person. And they can serve as a mentor to you in that capacity as well. Somebody that's already kind of walked certain stages in life that you may have not walked yet. And it's like guidance as to, okay, this is what they did. That kind of resonates with me. Maybe I'll try it. But it's also understanding that just because you may be older than somebody, may have more life experience than somebody, or at least so you think, that doesn't mean that other people don't have things to teach you. Like I said, I learn things from 5-year-olds every day. Children have taught me a lot about myself. And I think it's because they touch on my inner child in a way where I have had to do a lot of healing and a lot of coming to realization of like my own triggers and my own issues, right? So they have taught me a lot. But like essentially we all have something to gain from each other. This is like an infinity symbol, and it's essentially like reciprocity here. It's like you give to somebody, they give back to you, and the cycle continues forever and ever and ever, because we continue to give of ourselves to people and we will get things in return. And that it may not be from that person. I'm not saying you should expect people to give you things, but I'm saying that like by being open to the idea that other people do have things to share with you and do have like valuable things to provide you, other than just money, but even like advice, by being open to that, it allows us to take in that information and then give it to other people, but also then continue to be granted by the universe with people who will provide us with advice and knowledge, right? So I'm not saying to expect that people will give you things back in return, but it's this idea that when we are open to giving to other people, that the universe will then give back to us in some way, shape, or form. And it could be that person, paying us back, or also, helping us with a project or providing us with some level of advice, but it doesn't always have to be. It's just that level of openness of being willing to give and being willing to receive, right? Because we also have to be open to receiving. Otherwise, we're cutting ourselves off from this infinite loop, okay? So be open to the idea of other people helping you and the idea that other people have knowledge to give you. Like, we all have something to gain from other people. I think that if you truly do believe that you have it all figured out and you know everything, like, you really don't know anything, because the more that I learn, the more that I grow, the more that I'm like, I don't know anything, okay? Like, I don't know anything, and I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with learning and like trying to figure things out along the way, because, I do know some things, but like there's a lot that I don't know. There's a lot that I don't understand. There's a lot that I don't know, and it's okay to admit that, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I feel like with all of the court cards coming out, it's again this signifier from spirit of like the type of energy that you need to be tapping into, okay? What I mean by that is with the King of Swords here, for instance, the King of Swords is somebody that is methodical, somebody that is a planner, somebody that is like a thinker and really thinks about their decisions and their actions before like sprinting into action. And that could be part of some of your problem, is that maybe you dive headfirst into something so quickly that you don't have time to think things out all the way and think, oh, okay, well, maybe I need help with somebody from this. Again, it's like going back to that scenario with, somebody running track. Like, if they just sprint right out the gate, like before anybody even blows the whistle, they didn't have a chance to ask other people around them for a drink of water or for a quick little snack, or to make sure that like, I don't know, even their like little placard that they wear on their shirt is in place that shows like what number they are, or making sure their shoe is tied, or whatever, dude. Whatever it is that you may need. I don't know, I didn't run track, okay? That's just like the image that popped up in my head. But you have to be a little bit more methodical. You have to plan things out. You have to be wise in your approach. Like, literally what I'm hearing from Spirit is you need to be more like the King of Swords and less like the Knight of Swords, okay? The Knight of Swords has his place. He's not a bad dude, but the Knight of Swords is very like, let's go now, very action oriented, and wants to like go at the speed of light towards things. And while I think that's great, and I think that Spirit really admires that, like your tenacity, you also need to like take a breath and be like, okay, this is what I want. Let me make a plan. All right. Like, I think that that's really, really, really important for you. And then with the King of Cups coming up here, I feel like this is having to do more so with like your connections with others, right? Because the thing about the King of Cups is that he is very in tune with like his emotions, therefore he's able to be very in tune with other people's, right? He's not overwhelmed by this idea of emotions and other people having emotions and like arguing with other people and like having disagreements or like differences of opinions with other people. So I feel like this is coming up as a reminder that it's really important for you to make connections with people and build relationships with people and rely on people, okay? Like, it is okay to rely on other people. It really, 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 really is. I promise you it is. Like, you may think that you can't rely on anybody, and that maybe a lot of it has to do with for some of you, like being afraid that other people are going to hurt you. But the King of Cups is so comfortable in himself and the way that he expresses emotion that he's okay, truthfully, with being hurt because he knows how to deal with that in himself. And so I think that this is a call to you to understand that, like, having that connection with people, being able to rely on people, being able to build community, and, having like deep connections with other people is so invaluable. Like, you can't put like a price on that, right? And I think that this could also be a call for you guys to allow yourself to be upset or grieve if like this Five of Swords for you is pointing to like, maybe a business crumbled for you, maybe like a past relationship did, or maybe, something, maybe you lost something, okay? Maybe you lost something. And like I said, I think it ultimately revolves around your inability to trust other people, your inability to rely on other people, or at least like you not wanting to do those things. But it's okay to like feel your emotions. It's okay to sit and like plan and ground yourself. And the thing about like the Queen of Pentacles too is she is not in a hurry, okay? If that's one thing about earth signs, is they're not in a hurry. They are able to cultivate the things that they want. She is somebody that is comfortable in who she is wise, provides really good advice and guidance, and is also loving and nurturing. And so again, I feel like this may be a call from the universe to you to, once you are in a place where you are established, to give back to other people who are in your position now that want to create the things that you are creating. So for instance, again, we talked about here with the Six of Pentacles, with you being open to receiving like mentoring and advice from other people. If you open yourself up to that, then what the universe is really wanting you to do, what Spirit is really wanting you to do, is then realize that you have knowledge and wisdom on something that you can then give back to other people as well. You can be that guidance. You can be that like emotional sounding board. You can be that support for other people that you're needing as well. And, it really just has to do with you being comfortable with laying it out on the table, okay? Because I do feel like a lot of you being guarded like this has to do, again, with the way that other people have hurt you in the past or let you down. And I think that you need to deal with that disappointment that you're feeling, so that you can move past that and actually build connections with other people and get into this flow state of reciprocity where you are open to giving and receiving of others, okay? So let's go ahead and move on to your oracle cards. I'm going to take a drink here real quick. And let's see if we can get any additional clarity for you guys before we get into the book divination. So first off here, we have, I grabbed like one extra card. I've been doing like 2 at a time with the other piles. So we have Fork in the Road and we have Thinker. So I really feel like these are coming up for you, pile number 3, because again, like with what I was saying with the King of Swords being here, you really need to sit and think things out, okay? I think you're very tenacious. You really like to go after things and tackle things, and I think that's great. But there needs to be some level of planning here for you as well, okay? You need to take time to actually plan out your actions, your path, you know, the things that you're wanting to accomplish. It's okay to like take a step back, be like, wow, this really inspires me. This is something I really want to do. How can I make it a reality? How can I make it happen? And like plan shit out. Because sometimes that can be the problem too. And that's what I'm hearing from Spirit, is that for some of you, your issue is that you dive into things with all of this enthusiasm and tenacity, and then things kind of start to go south, or one thing goes wrong, and you just are kind of like, ugh, this isn't how I wanted it to be. I pictured it to be absolutely perfect. And life just isn't that way, okay? And I think you really know that deep down, but because you didn't take the time to actually plan things out and think things through, then you get disappointed and you give up. And I don't think that's you. I don't think you're truly like a quitter. You're somebody that enjoys giving up. I think that you just need to give yourself more structure. And I think ultimately that's why we're getting like the Queen of Pentacles here and the King of Swords, is because they're both the thinker and the person that forms structure, right? Because that is what earth signs are good at doing. If an earth sign can do anything, an earth sign can plan. So you need to tap into that and plan, okay? I feel like Fork in the Road is coming up here for you because I really feel like it's Spirit's way of saying to you, like, this is your opportunity to make a change for the better. This is your opportunity to really get in your flow state and to be able to receive both like financially and, you know, mentally, emotionally, whatever, from the universe. And you have a lot of choices that you need to make. But I really feel like this is coming up because, you know, this is kind of a defining moment for you. It's either you're going to continue to repeat the same patterns because you don't allow other people to help you and you don't plan things out, or you're going to take a step back, you're going to sit there and actually come up with a plan, and then you're going to reach out to other people and ask them for help, okay? And I feel like if you do that, if you actually lean into the resources that are around you with other people, that is going to lead you to the most success, okay? So I feel like that's why this is coming out. So then let's go ahead and look out some more of your oracle cards. We got Compass here, and we got Golden Palace. Okay, cool. So with Golden Palace coming out in particular, this really talks about us getting into this state where we are emotionally satisfied. We are, you know, satisfied in terms of our financial, physical means. And so I really feel like this is coming out as a reminder from Spirit that you're going to be able to tap into another level of abundance by letting other people in. Also, you're going to be more emotionally fulfilled by letting other people in and being able to rely on and trust in people. And again, like I had told you guys earlier, for me, like being a nurse working with young kids, they've taught me, you know, how to heal my inner child and how to go about that process, and like how a lot of the things that trigger me relate and stem back to my childhood. And I think that what Spirit's really wanting you to look at here is, why is it do you feel like you can't depend on other people? Why is it that you feel like you have to be so hyper independent that no one else can help you, that you have to work yourself to the bone because you don't want to reach out to other people for help? And ultimately that's going to allow you to build like a better emotional connection with yourself and with other people. It's going to allow you to get deeper with yourself and get deeper with other people. So I think that you really need to examine why it is that you have such a hard time, you know, seeking out help from others. And then with Compass coming out here, I think that Spirit really wants you to understand that when you live in this place of like a flow state, when you are allowing the universe to bring into you what it wants, and you are receiving those things, and you're not resisting, and you don't resist like the things that Spirit, you know, is telling you, but also like you don't resist that call, like what it is that you're really wanting to do. When you don't resist that, like that is when you're going to be in like your most divine flow state, right? Like that's when things are going to just kind of come in more easily. Again, with Golden Palace here too, it's like that's when things are really going to manifest for you, and you're going to receive like the abundance that you want, and that you're going to be able to create the things that you want. And so this is really like the idea of actually living by your true north, because I don't think that, you know, you as a child were somebody that was just like, oh, I can't rely on anybody else, like I have to do everything myself. I think that maybe that was ingrained in you in childhood, but like who you were before you learned that, you weren't like that. Like I can guarantee you weren't like that. And I think that this is kind of a call to get back into who you really are at your core. And so, you know, this is going to require you kind of stripping away those things that other people put onto you in terms of like their ideas of how the world works and how things are supposed to be and how you're supposed to act. And coming to terms with like who you are and what feels good for you. And I really do think that you are a very passionate person, because I really get the sense that you are very driven, you're very tenacious. Like I've said multiple times before, you're somebody that tackles the things that you really want to go after. And I think that Spirit's telling you like, hold on to that. But again, like, let's be more methodical about it. But like, don't let yourself burn out so many times that like you lose your zest and your passion for life, okay? Like, because I think that you are full of life and you have a lot of zest and passion for life in general, and Spirit doesn't want you to lose that. Spirit just wants you to be a little bit more thoughtful about the way that you're approaching those things, because, you know, it's great that you are action oriented, but again, like we have to have some level of planning there too. Okay. And let's go ahead and take a look at your last two cards here. So we got for you, looking at the underbelly, it says, be sure that you are using your time in the best possible manner. You might consider taking time to organize yourself, or perhaps a project you are working on could use some fine tuning. Isn't that funny? And then we have life is better together. Seek assistance from your community. Connect with family, friends, or others who will support you. It can be as simple as making a phone call. Dude, I don't really think I need to explain those to you again. I think that this is literally just a re-emphasis of what we were talking about. So, you know, again, pay attention to how you can organize yourself, how you can, you know, plan things out and be more methodical in attaining the things that you want, and ask other people for help, okay? It's okay to rely on your community. It's okay to rely on other people. And ultimately, when we rely on others and we actually do seek out the help of other people, we bring in help, and then we're able to facilitate help for other people, and it's a constant giving and receiving cycle like we've talked about. So yeah, I think that those cards speak for themselves is what I'm saying, so I'm gonna leave those there. I'm actually gonna go ahead and leave your guys' reading here like this, and we'll go ahead and get into your book divination now. So I'm just gonna read the back of this because I I totally lost my train of thought there, ADHD brain. But anyway, I was saying, I was reading pile number 2's cards for them, and I went to go grab their book, and their book was Euphoria, and I went to go grab it, and I just happened to turn the book over, and the poem that was on the back really stood out to me. So I just kind of want to do that again for you guys. So let's go ahead and read this. It says, "Come, take my hand. The sun is not as harsh today, and the night is not as dark. Let us finally fight for who we aspire to be after all these years of letting the hurt tell us who we are." Oh my God, literally I have the chills. So yeah, I really feel like what Spirit is saying to you here, and we're still gonna read a passage from the book, don't worry. But I feel like what Spirit is saying for you here is to not let your issues from the past with other people define you. And the way that other people have hurt you and potentially let you down, don't let that define you, pile number 3. Don't let that keep you from making meaningful connections with people and allowing other people in to help you achieve the things that you want to achieve, and allow you to become who you aspire to be. Because again, I really don't believe, pile number 3, that at the base of who you are, that you're somebody that aspires to be totally alone and hyper independent. I think that you became that way to protect yourself because maybe there were people in your life when you were younger who you couldn't depend on. And I just want to say, truly from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry if that's the case for you. I'm sorry if that is how you had to live your life growing up, that you couldn't depend on other people. But I want to let you know that you can. There are people out there who will love you and see you for who you are. And that's another thing about this Life is Better Together card. It's seeking out community of people that will actually see you and appreciate you for who you are, okay? It doesn't have to be the people that are currently in your life if they don't make you feel good. You can seek out other people at any time that may be better fit to be in your life. And it can be hard because we are raised in a society that tells us that family is everything. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say family is not important. I'm lucky and I have a good family though. Family is not everything for everyone, especially if family was toxic and hurt you. And for a lot of people, friends are family. They are more important than your blood family because they actually treat you well and they actually care about you, and they don't put you down and make you feel bad about yourself and make you feel like you can't depend on people, okay? I just wanted to say that. So let's go ahead and flip to a page for you guys. I just want to make sure this is nice and loosened up here. Oh my God. Do you see that? Do you guys freaking see that? That is so crazy. What the hell? Did I not say tenacious 85 million times during this reading? I'm telling you, it's really beautiful how much synchronicity there is around us all the time, right? I'm telling you, there's how many pages in this damn book? There's freaking 134 pages, and we happen to turn to the page where tenacity is listed at the top. Okay, I'm gonna read now. I'm sorry, that just blew my mind. It's so funny. Spirit is so funny sometimes. Tenacity. You have felt what it is like to be at the bottom, how cold it feels, and how alone you might be, how the world constantly moves forward despite you not being able to, how the skies still shine blue, but you not being able to take in its beauty each and every day. You have felt what it's like to be at the bottom. Know all the good you feel now is because of your perseverance. So again, pile number 3, you guys are tenacious as hell. Literally, Spirit just affirmed that for us, that you are tenacious. And you have the ability to dig yourself back out of this, okay? You have the ability to come back to the surface where the sun is shining. You have the ability to heal. And you have the ability to heal your relationship with yourself so that you're then able to create better relationships with other people. You are a survivor. You persevere. And you know what it's like to be left out in the cold. I mean, that is essentially kind of what we have here with the 5 of Swords. It's this idea of having to walk away from a situation. And I actually really like how it's depicted here in this card too, because, you know, this looks like the top of a freaking like mountain or something to me. It looks like an ice cap to me. And like, you know what it's like to be left out in the cold. You know what it's like to have people treat you like shit. You know what that's like. And I'm sorry that you have to know what that's like. But just know that like Spirit sees that you're a freaking fighter and that you claw your way back up every single time. But Spirit wants to help you. And I feel like that's what this reading is all about. Ultimately, that's what tough love is, right? It's when Spirit or when somebody else that really cares about us wants to help us. And sometimes they don't express it in the best way. But I don't think Spirit is ever wrong. If anything, it's me that is expressing it more harshly than Spirit is. Because Spirit is only love and light and only shows you love and care. And so I apologize if this reading came across harshly to you guys. But Spirit is just wanting you to understand that while they know that you're tenacious and you have the ability to claw yourself back up and to persevere, you can also make things easier on yourself. Again, it goes back to the beginning when we were talking about Capricorn and we were talking about the mountain goat and them being so freaking stubborn. And they have the ability to get to the top. Abso-freaking-lutely they do. But could they have taken an easier path? Could they have asked other people for help? Could they have relied on their community? Absolutely, they could have. They chose not to. So, you know, either way, I want you to know you're going to be successful. But you're going to garner the most success and you're going to garner the most happiness in your life by actually seeking out help from others. I want to read this other passage because for all of the other piles, I did go ahead and read both pages because they're short little poems. So let's read this one too. Fears that linger. My greatest fear is not losing you. Our names are etched in stone that cannot be altered. My greatest fear is becoming the person that has shown me all the ways to not treat someone. One that has hurt me, has made me carry a burden so heavy that my bones groan with each step I take. My greatest fear is losing who I am, the person you have loved, and in turn becoming a stranger to you and myself. Wow, that's really deep, pile number 3. And I think that ultimately, like, this talks about maybe some of the deep wounds that you have, and that's why I told you that it's going to be really important for you to understand why it is that you feel like you have to do everything on your own and you can't rely on other people. And again, like really touching into that King of Cups energy, because the King of Cups understands his emotions better than anybody else does. And I think that's why Spirit had this card come out for you, is because Spirit wants you to be in touch with yourself and in touch with the way that you feel and to understand the things that trigger you so that you can create healthy, meaningful relationships with other people so that you don't hurt other people and you don't push other people away that just want to be there and want to help you and want to love you. Let other people love you, okay? Allow yourself to receive other people's love. You are worthy of that. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that, so I'm going to be the one that tells you. You are worthy of other people loving you and seeing you and appreciating you for who you are, pile number 3. I'm going to go ahead and leave your guys' reading there. I really hope that this resonated for you guys. And overall, pile number 3, I think that this was my favorite reading today, only because it came off a little harsh there at first, but I think that's why Spirit gave me these different, poems to read for you, because I think Spirit just wanted you to know that overall, like, your spirit guides love you, okay? They love you and they want to help you. And they know that you're capable of accomplishing great, amazing things. And they want you to, when you get to that point, to be happy and settled in who you are, okay? So you really do need to do some self-exploration and examination and figure some things out about yourself. But overall, like, it's okay to rely on other people. I promise you it is. And the people that hurt you and that have hurt you, you know, unfortunately, those are things we all have to go through in order to learn what people we're best suited to be around and what people we want to let into our lives and how we want to build boundaries with people, okay? So anyway, pile number 3, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to leave your reading there. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this reading resonated for you. If it did, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below, letting me know that this video resonated with you. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. I put out new pick a card readings every week. And yeah, I'm sending you guys a lot of love. And yeah, I really hope that this touched you in some way, pile number 3, because it did for me. I love you so much, and I hope to see you in next week's reading. Thank you. Bye.